rock on. That track during the commercial break was from the mighty Pentakill. You can head to the official Pentakill website to grab your free copy of their Smite and Ignite album. Perfect tunes for ganking. Now I'm happy to be joined by Joe Miller and Trevor Quickshot Henry to break down Alliance's win in that last game, starting in picks and bans and starting with the obvious, obviously, Frog and nivea coming in.
Yeah, it was actually really interesting to see Alliance pulling that curveball out. A lot of the other picks were quite standard. We expected a Jax, we expected Eve, we expected Elise. I didn't expect the first pick Jax. Alliance have been playing against it so often and doing well. That caught Rocket off guard. And then, of course, nivea is a champion that we haven't seen at this level of play for a while. Froggen went unkilled, 1-0-7. He went 11-0-14 at All-Star Games. So his last two showings on nivea, 0 deaths accrued. It was a great play.
And I think the great point about nivea is, you said we've not seen him for a while. We've also only just really seen Kog'Maw coming back into favor. If we think back to when nivea and Kog'Maw were really popular, they worked so well as a combo because you just can't get past nivea. She can wall you off so far. Kog'Maw's still got that range into it. Froggen said it fits so perfectly in the meta, and I think the return of Kog'Maw really helps that.
Absolutely, and as he mentioned, we knew we would get it in the late game because in the early game, we got to say, kind of a rough start there, and Rocket coming out the gate swinging.
Yeah, so Rocket actually made a few good plays early on. They handled the initial lane swap pretty well. They traded objectives. They got the first dragon. The problem is the Alliance composition was always going to outscale, and it was always going to be... The question for me was, how were Rocket going to get past nivea? How were they going to counter his wave clear and his defensive power? They didn't build up enough of a lead early on, and unfortunately, when their early game movements didn't yield the lead they were expecting, they just made riskier and riskier plays, and it kind of fell to pieces.
Yeah, the three big elements of that team was not let Kog'Maw, Jax, and nivea really get going. It seemed like they focused on Jax. Wicked actually died, or was pushed away from his tower for the first dragon, couldn't then TP back in, which Jesiz had his teleport available. They were able to come in, take the first dragon without any problems whatsoever. But they still let Kog'Maw get going. They still didn't shut down nivea fast enough, and I think it's hard to call which target out of those three were the most valuable to shut down. In the end, though, I think nivea's got to be your target at some point. It's when someone like Froggen is playing nivea, he's going to be strong.
Absolutely, and let's actually take a closer look at how both teams played the team fights, because we have a replay that we can bring up at the screen right now as both teams contest that dragon.
Yeah, so 23 minutes on the clock. This is the third dragon of the game. If you notice at this stage already, Alliance have got themselves a gold lead. Rocket are behind on towers. They're even on dragons. And the main thing to keep note of is the mini-map. Take a look at how Rocket commit to this fight through drips and drabs. So let's roll this clip out, and you'll notice that Alliance have got better positioning on dragon. They've already started it. Rocket have committed to the fight because that's a teleport coming in from Wicked in the middle of the Rocket lines. But Rocket are completely split. Wicked has such good positioning on that ward teleport that he's pulled all of Rocket's focus, and now Alliance are just better grouped, better knit. Rocket got caught out of position. They picked the fight. Earlier than this, we actually seen the replay at the end of the game of them chasing through the Dragon Pit. We seen them chasing in the top lane. Rocket got desperate, and they made risky calls.
Yeah, there was no ever real, I think the officials say, no real offensive Twist of Fate play. It was used mostly defensive, except the one up by the Baron Pit where they just went far, far, far too deep and ended up losing. I think that was where Tab picked himself up a double kill as well. So really well played by Alliance.
Yeah, too bad for Rocket, but indeed very crisp play by Alliance once again. For now, we're going to hear what you guys at home had to say, because at the top of the show, we asked you to tweet and let us know who would be your first fantasy draft pick from the LCS and why. And here are some of your fantastic answers. The first one is from @RubenVLB. I'd pick Mr. Raleigh. He has been getting huge amounts of points in the first 2 weeks, and he won't stop breaking them in.
Yeah, I actually picked him in my very first draft. I didn't need a week 3 Twitter question to theoretically redraft him. And he's been doing me okay, but unfortunately hasn't won me any games, so he's got to pick it up.
And that's in, by the way, a team which is not in the important caster league. The official was actually just on his feet there screaming, no, 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 I've got him.
The second one is from @It'sDanTran. Froggen would be my first pick. Despite a rough start in the EU Spring Split, he's shown great consistency.
I think we just saw it there again. I mean, Alliance are pretty much a safe bet right now in terms of a first pick. I think Froggen is really as good as anyone that's going to pick you up points. Even when they'd had a rough start, a ropey start last split, he was still consistent. He was still doing very well for them.
And the last tweet is from @Solovki. Selfie! Not only does he average over 23 points a game, he's gotten over 20 points in a game without fail. Now that's consistency.
It really is for 6 games. So it's a small sample size. We'll see if we can keep it up. I've got high hopes for him because he's definitely playing a lot better than he did in spring.
Yep. Thank you guys for sending those to us. And remember, you can form your own team and draft pros along with everyone else in the Fantasy LCS. Just head to fantasy.lolesports.com for all the information, and maybe you can become a Banana King as well. Now let's send it back over to D&D at the desk for our next match.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Let's get game 2 of the day underway with SK Gaming facing off against Millenium. And despite SK Gaming's great spring split where they went into the playoffs as the #1 seed, it's somewhat surprising that they ended up tied in a head-to-head at 2 apiece, with Millenium, of course, who finished bottom of the standings. SK Gaming have started out well in the summer split, but continue to struggle early game phase and forcing them to really have to make up ground in the late game. This is still definitely an area they need to work on.
Yeah, and SK, they actually remind me a lot of Alliance as a team. Same decision making, a lot of focus on objectives, of course. They just have slightly weaker players if you just compare them player to player here. And that's why once we actually saw Alliance versus SK last week, Alliance would win the laning phase and therefore also get ahead there and took control of the game. And then, of course, we have to highlight, going in again with the weaker players, they have issues early game. SK Gaming, pretty much every single game they play, they fall behind, and then they have to just invest a lot of time into making some good moves on the map here to actually get back in the game. And if they can fix the early game, we said the same thing last split, if they can fix this early game, they will be a very, very, very strong team. And of course a team who could possibly represent Europe at Worlds, because they are very consistent in the play, just also in the bad times where it's the bad early game. We see it every game, that's also consistent. And then of course we see the good plays as well for them in the mid-late game.
If anything but consistent, at least. So Millenium, well, they had a great start to the Super Week, didn't they? They faced tough opposition last week and suffered some heavy losses, though, to both Alliance and Fnatic. Now that they're up against SK Gaming, they're going to need to dig deep to overcome those defeats.
Yeah, and if you look back at last week for Millenium, where they lost the 2 games, the Alliance game itself was more credit to Alliance for fantastic map play and being one of the first teams in Europe to really show how to play the map than actually Millenium just playing bad. We saw Creaton on Twitter after the game saying, we just ran around in a circle for 30 minutes. We had absolutely no idea what was going on here. So we need to see if Millenium rewatch the game and learn from it, and maybe they can do some of the same moves in here. And look, going on to second game for them last week, where it was against Fnatic, of course, for Millenium, where we saw the Karthus pick for Kerp. It was a bit weird for me, because it was against an Italy, so obviously a long-range poke, it was against Nuno Jungle to kite him around, and he didn't have any impact in the game at all. It's a bit of a weird pick, and he also actually, I believe he was on LeBlanc for pretty much the entire time, and then he just swapped to Karthus in the very end. So maybe a little bit of a, hey, I'm going to play Karthus and carry this game, but didn't really think it through here. We need to see if he will play Karthus again, or if they're going to change up the picks and bans. And one thing we just have to say about Millenium, even though they lost 2 games last week, they still look better than they did last split.
Well, it's not really overcoming too much, though, there, is it?
I agree. I agree. They couldn't really go further down.
We'll see how it works out. Of course, SK Gaming's CandyPanda, well, he believes that Millenium will be an easy opponent in this match despite their strong start. And Kottenx, well, and the team are looking to gain the edge through their picks and map control.
I think Millenium will be easier than it was Alliance or Rocket. I think the 3-1 record they had the first week wasn't a real indicator of their skill.
I think the not so great rotations and closing out games and just general team play.
SK Gaming's strength is their early and mid-game rotations. They always work well together, they're moving as a team.
I think Kottenx is making most of their plays, and also the way they communicate with top and the way they use their top lane is really good. I feel like the way they apply pressure all around the map is really nice.
We need some really good preparation for the pick and ban phase. I think it's where it lies the most. Also that we get our rotations together and our shot calling.
The way we perform right now, it is up to us. If we do mistakes or like big mistakes, they might be able to capitalize on it, but the way we approach the game right now seems to be pretty solid, and our gameplay is getting more and more consistent throughout the whole week. So the more practice we get in, the stronger we get, and right now it looks like we're doing really good.
Rotations, rotations, rotations.
All I hear.
See if they can make a translation into the game. That's what I want to know. Of course, Kobe would be happy with that one. Let's check out those starting lineups, though. Over on the blue side, it is SK Gaming. That means it's fredy 122 in the top lane, Svenskeren in the jungle, Jesiz in the mid lane, CandyPanda as AD carry, and nRated on support.
On the red side, we have Millenium. Kevin is in the top lane. Kottenx as the jungler. Kerp in the mid lane, of course. Creaton as the AD carry. And Jree is his support.
And before we get into picks and bans, let's see who you voted for on lolesports.com in this match. According to the numbers, you went with SK Gaming. No surprise. Shock horror, 72%.
Yeah, I mean, we have to agree. They've been a top team in Europe now for at least a few months. Going back to last split, of course, with one of the favorites going into playoffs. And they've just been showing it once again in this split here. They are very, very strong and a great team, especially as they said in the interview here, when it comes to rotations.
One of the few teams in the opening summer that are really making a good run for the World Championships. Of course, this is the run to the Summoners Cup. This is where everybody wants to get there. They were there in Season 2. Very different roster, of course, back then.
Yeah.
Can they get there in Season 4? Who knows?
I believe they're definitely one of the teams from Europe we would like to see going step up the game and then represent actually Europe at All-Star. At Worlds, of course. All-Star's a little bit too late.
Yeah, they're thinking ahead now, maybe, who knows. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans underway, and straight away they're going in towards Kha'Zix's ban. We haven't seen that one for a very long time, but of course we saw high all over the place earlier on last week. Orianna being banned away from Jesiz. That's another champion we haven't seen too much of. Ziggs will be surely a ban between one of these two teams.
So Orianna ban here could show that Millenium wants to play LeBlanc. Normally you want to pick Orianna into it because you can actually farm well, you can shield yourself if LeBlanc tries to trade with you. And they're now banned away for the first time. Could be one of the reasons. It's not like Jess has been dominating on this Orianna before.
Yeah, absolutely. Elise taken away. We just saw in the last game working wonders for Shook, but Morgana was also taken away. So two champions that were in the last matchup for Alliance. What will be the final bans from SK? A lot slower bans straight this time around. There is the Ziggs ban, kind of expecting that one. Kale's still left open, a favorite of SK's.
Could be the last ban here for Millenium, especially because, again, Morgana and Orianna, both champions work well against a pick comp or against something like LeBlanc here, and they have banned them away. So we need to see where they want to go with the first few picks here, and also if SK what they want to first pick.
Nidalee ban is the final choice. Lulu also open, of course,
wow,
and Kassadin, more importantly, has been left open. Will Jesiz take that one? It's not a champion we've seen him on a lot, but then again, we've not seen anyone on it a lot because he's been living in that ban prison. 90% I think the ban rate was round for him, and 88.5 now because it's just been lowered.
Very, very close at least. And Millenium actually is the team in Europe to leave Kassadin open. They do it fairly often, and then they try and...
They have the counter.
Yeah, they feel like they have the counter, at least. It doesn't always work for them, but they like to leave it open, so a team first picks, and they get two very strong picks themselves, and then Kerp with the very last pick can just pick something that can counter the Kassadin.
I think Nicolas Cage would be proud of the face you just pulled about that counter. They feel they have. Jax has been picked alongside Evelyn, which Kottenx has played a number of times to great success, but of course Svenskeren hovering over that famed Lee Sin right now. He's definitely picked up the slack where Amazing has left off in Europe. And of course Thresh was banned out in the last match. A strong champion for Jree, that's for sure. Not a champion we've seen nRated on a great deal.
Yeah, fairly new champion for nRated, who last split didn't even play it. He put a lot of focus on to the likes of Leona instead. Annie he played a lot to be the engaged here for SK. And this split actually he played a lot of Morgana, which is banned away, and Zyra, so more disengaged. But this time around takes away the Thresh here from Jree, who just instant-locks Leona.
Insta-lock straight in, no problem. One in that champion. Lucian, of course, to follow. Twitch is open. If CandyPanda was to take it, he did take it against Alliance last week, so wouldn't be too surprised to see that one picked out. The Lucian, it's interesting to see the Lucian Twitch. It's the combo that everybody's been going with, but as we just saw, Kog'Maw is now on the table.
Kog'Maw is definitely on the table here. There's many AD carries which you can actually play. People just prefer these one or two champions, and every team seems to follow each other here in Europe when it comes to which AD carries they want to play. Except for Genji, of course, who will just pick whatever he feels like. This time, though, it is Lucian, the first pick for Creaton, who picked the AD carry here. And it's just overall such a good pick. You can do everything with Lucian, and you're always very strong.
Well, with Kog'Maw, if he does choose to lock it in, he has of course, got the Lantern from Thresh to help him out, but that's one of the few escapes. And when you've got a Jax on the opposition and Evelyn that could sneak in there, it's a bit of a risky pick, I feel, but I think he knows better than I do about AD carries. That's what
you're right.
Sure.
I mean, you're right. Normally, people pick something like Lulu, Nami with it
to be. If Blitzcrank gets picked in, that's a real problem.
That would be kind of weird. It would be Blitzcrank mid then.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we've seen it top, haven't we, of course, the last time. But Fizz, the final pick.
So the Fizz pick here, I actually talked with Kerp last time he played this matchup, and he was like, I'm supposed to lose the lane to Kassadin. It's very hard laning phase for me. Kassadin can do a lot of, you know, with his W, he can just hit me in the face every time I go towards him. He has the shield from Kassadin as well to block some of the magic damage. So we need to see how the laning phase will go. Last time it went okay for Kerp, he went even in farm. Let's see if Jesiz can do more towards this Fizz pick here. But then going back to CandyPanda and his pick, as you just talked about, there's not a lot of protection for him. Normally it's Nami, Lulu to help out here, Peel for the Kog'Maw. This time around for SK, it's only nRated who can actually help him out. The rest looking more to jump in onto the side of Millenium and try and take down a target, especially the Renekton pick.
I mean, you got a Leona diving in towards you with, of course, the Solar Flare. You got everything to lock you down. It's going to be a really, really tough time.
And the Fizz will one-shot you.
I'm expecting to see a QSS coming out for him. So pretty early on as well, actually, maybe.
He needs some defensive items, that's for sure. Could be Guardian Angel, could be the Banshees. There's a lot of options for him. But yeah, if he gets locked down by Leona, Fizz will jump in and you're dead instantly.
Well, some interesting picks and bans. Who do you guys think will take the first tower in this game? Tweet at LOL Esports and use the hashtag SK or hashtag MIL to vote. And don't forget to put at LOL Esports in there, because otherwise, who the hell's going to look at it? Not us, that's for sure. Make sure we will be checking the results out in just a few minutes' time. So, game about to get underway. Interesting picks this time around. As you mentioned, Fizz, you know, in thinking of Kerp and Jesiz, both of these players are players that like to start roaming. Jesiz definitely stepped it up in the roaming. Kerp 100% will be all over the map.
Normally, at least, he wants to just make plays everywhere, and the team is waiting for him to do it. So this time around here, with the Fizz, again, according to him, he's supposed to lose the matchup, so we will see what happens.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game is afoot. Game 2 of the day, and it is week 3. SK Gaming starting out as the blue team up against Millenium, who are playing as the red team from top to bottom.
And we see now also the Flask here from Kerp, so really looking for sustain in the laning phase. And those can take a lot of damage from Jesiz. Just want to farm up here and make sure he can play it safe and of course sustain himself enough in the lane. And then we need to see how SK wants to handle this Jax. Because again, when you have Renekton, you're a lot stronger in the early game. Oh, got a ward there. But you're a lot stronger in the early game with the Renekton, but you're a lot weaker, like a lot weaker in the late game against the Jax. So we need to see if SK wants to lane swap on it to try and shut down, which in my opinion wouldn't be the right choice. I think they should try and look for one-on-one lane with fredy here, and then just put Svenskeren up there to camp Kevin and shut him down early.
Well, if I was asked to make a list of the best Renekton players in the LCS in Europe, I would probably put fredy up the top there. So 100% is one of the main Renekton players, and that's why it works so well for SK Gaming. Honestly, the meta has moved heavily in their favor, especially for fredy in that top lane.
fredy 100%, he loves to play Bruisers. Again, Wicked is the same deal here. The Bruisers, it's what they enjoy playing. It's what you play now here in the Season 4 patch, so... Season 4 meta.
Oh dear God.
Not the trackball.
There's a trackball problem, ladies and gentlemen, for Kerp. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. What are you going to do, Kerp? He's under the desk. He's panicking over this one. This is serious. It's not like you can just pull another one out, that's for sure. Everybody, just calm down.
Still looks fairly happy.
He's looking fairly calm.
Yeah.
He maybe just kicked the cable out. It's possible. We've all done it. We've all been there. No.
Smile, please.
Oh. I mean, I'd love to see another trackball come out. Taco's gone off.
Pull it out.
Taco's gone off to basically call emergency backups. I think we're okay. It's good. It's good. Look at the thumb. The thumb is in action. It is working, ladies and gentlemen. The trackball is back. We've talked about this many times, and sooner or later it's going to happen. There is no backup.
There's no backup. Like, if it's gone, it's gone. That's it. The Kerp is done.
Yeah. I mean, we've asked him so many times. It's like, you need to carry a backup for this thing because it's... You're just going to... I'll just borrow one from another player. Nope. I mean, you could probably ask a poll of about 10,000 players and you may not get one still. It's a rare thing, but...
At least the only player
Don't get me wrong, they're fantastic for video editing from what I hear, but maybe we'll find one for him nevertheless. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the game. It is Millenium on the invade, and this is something we've seen so often from Millenium. Even when through the hard times, through the easy times, they always go on them as invades.
And with, of course, the wards being active so early in the game here, you can always spot the invade as long as you place them properly. So SK saw Millenium move in, ping them, and move straight into their red buff with both Svenskeren and fredy for now.
So, ward right under the feet of Svenskeren, which is why we're seeing Millenium moving in force to that red buff. They're going to bide their time. I think they should come around the back, but they're going to go flat out in there. Kottenx, of course, will be able to stealth his way in. SK sensing something wrong there. Yep, starts off the red buff and says, yep, there's full vision. Let's get the hell out of dodge. Which means it will be a standard start for these teams. It's going to be a 2v1 in the top and bottom lane, so not quite 100% standard. And actually, that's going to slow Kevin down a little bit here because he's doing the buddy system. And of course, well, you guys at home are actually a little concerned about the picks and bans that SK maybe have gone with here. Either that or there's a lot of Millenium fans tuning in.
Well, we have to remember, of course, with the Jax against Renekton, we just talked about it before the pause, how hard a Jax will outscale Renekton here. So if Millenium goes through the first 20-25 minutes, make sure Kevin can pick up some farm, he will be able to do so much in this game here, just split pushing or team fighting. And of course the Fizz as well, going into the late game point. If you land your ulti onto the Cockmore, he's gonna die.
Identical tactic for both these teams. You can see fredy shadowing Svenskeren around. This is something that's really come into common practice for the teams in the European LCS and really across the world. They do continue to keep it up. It started out as the 4-0 splits. He used to pile onto us as towers, take 2 towers down early, and now it's transcended into what we're seeing here, which is 2v1s, but the top laners stay very much in the jungle alongside their jungle partner. nRated going to ward out. I think he's just trying to get some vision of maybe where they're going. Is he even going to try and make a play and hook on Kerp?
Well, if he lands the hook, it could be some damage at least on the Kerp here, then force him to then jump away with the seed.
Jesiz is trying to bait him over there. That's what he's doing, trying to brawl, putting him away from the minions, but quickly
2 members coming
away. nRated, oh, this is going to be baited in. Gets the flay in there. The ignite is down, but it's not enough damage. Svenskeren joins the party. He gets in. It is back and forth action, and nobody will go down. Very tight fight though between these two teams.
Kerp was actually forced to use the flash because he was baiting out here, flash away from the hook, and now Jree joining in as well.
Not going to get the clearance on there, but as you mentioned, that death sentence, it was going to land.
It was.
Flash saved his life. So, great start from these two teams. Millenium going to return back to lanes, although saying that, there's 4 members in the top half of the jungle. fredy clearly getting a ward to give him some coverage.
And look at this here. fredy, because there was all the action in the mid lane, because Jree as well moved down to help out, fredy just farmed up in his top lane by himself, one-on-one against Silva, so he picked up so much farm already compared to Kevin.
What was Kottenx and Kevin doing there? They came on towards that area. They'd already seen the ward because it got placed on Jree. He tried to clear that ward out, so they knew there was a ward in that bush, yet they just came and stood there for a couple of seconds and wasted a lot of time because SK are fully aware of their position.
And this is not good for Millenium. CandyPanda is freezing the bottom lane, just picking up all the farm he needs. fredy is one-on-one top lane here, picking up all the farm he needs. And while Kevin is getting very low amount of farm, he's in the base now, he needs to teleport somewhere, or Millenium needs to go either multiple members in the top lane to push it down to make sure fredy gets denied from the farm, or they need to help Kevin in his bottom lane pushing the wave out, so CandyPanda won't just get all this farm.
Well, it is a 3 versus 4, so it's not quite as disastrous as it was in the previous matchup, but you can guarantee that CandyPanda is immediately going to go aggressive. He's got Svenskeren coming around in towards the top. Look who's coming down the river. nRated's going to join this party. It's going to be a 3-on-1. Kevin in all sorts of trouble. He has to start backing away. He's got flash available, but if he gets caught with one of those plays or death sentences or even sonic waves followed through, now we see Svenskeren coming around. There's the leap strike already done. He has got flash available still. Counter strike will come out. Nicely done. That may save the day. Flash was used just at the right time. Good escape by Kevin.
Yeah, second flash though forced by nRated here. First onto Kerp, now onto Kevin, and again, continued just farm from CandyPanda. He didn't even have to join in for this one. It was just Svenskeren and nRated doing all the work to force Kevin away.
So mid lane, we haven't seen too much between these two. They had that little engagement, the 3-on-3, but overall they're actually keeping fairly even in farm. That's a big rate being taken away. Oh, Creaton dived on by fredy there. Has got a big minion wave with him, and he's well within his right at level 5 apiece.
Yeah, just poke him down, so once you hit level 6, if Svenskeren joins in, they can dive onto Creaton here, tank up the tower. For now though, he's taking some damage and might actually have to flash over.
Gonna have to safeguard across the Jesiz, safe the passes away. Got the big Wraith as well, so happy with that one. But of course he knows now that Millenium have 2 members in this bottom half of the jungle. In the bottom lane, they need to be aware of this one. CandyPanda does ward it out. Oh, he didn't quite go. I don't think he gave him vision. He didn't. Yes, he did. He got it just in the side there. I think he just about caught vision of them. And they will be safe. I tell you what, I think Kottenx and Jree probably could have got around the back there and still caused a problem for them. Instead, it is going to be a giant wave of minions, siege minion, and all of the damage CandyPanda put onto Jree. That was, again, sloppy play from Millenium.
Very important though, Kevin picks up all the farm here onto this tower. It's his chance to try and catch up a little bit to fredy. But again, he was just been 1v1 against Selva up in his top lane, or against Creaton, sorry, up in his top lane, and just picked up so much farm. So
we see the AD carries backing off. It is double Dorans was picked up in the top lane as well. Triple Doran picked up by fredy. He's just looked at Kevin's items and said, "Yeah, I can beat that. I can beat that. I'll go one better." Meanwhile, Phaedra was picked up by CandyPanda going for that Triforce early on. Svenskeren actually is going to see Kottenx here, so they have the timings on that red buff. And I don't think they're going to go for the full invade, although nRated is joining the party.
Is joining in. Also, Creaton is actually recalling up in his top lane here, so fredy can also move down and help the team now for this red buff here. So SK Gaming doing a very good job delaying Kottenx from taking red buff and might even be able to steal it themselves, because now fredy joins in. Fredy
joins in, Creaton is backed away. That red buff still hasn't gone down. Now we see Millenium moving in force. Mid lane coming across as well. Kerp wants to join this one. He's taken a little bit of harassment from Jesiz, who is also putting the pressure down. Has got that Rift Walk available. Has his chum the waters for Kerp. So this could be a big fight there. So red buff going away. Svenskeren steals it away. Are they going to fancy a fight though? Jree's taken low here. fredy trying to put down. Chum the waters lands on towards nRated. Does not do a lot of damage. Instead we see the Rift Walk coming from Jesiz to pursue on Kerp. And Kerp backs away from that one. And everybody steps away safe. Red buff went to Svenskeren. After all that, blue buff will go across to Jesiz.
Should go across to Jesiz here, and nRated once again is in this mid lane here, just laning with Jesiz. Also taking quite a lot of the experience away, which is one of the reasons Kerp is actually 1 level ahead.
So Jesiz picking up the blue buff. Rift Walk's over. Of course, Rift Walk will stack up in mana cost, so he absolutely needs that. Will get pulled with the lantern to make sure he gets the rest of that gold. As you mentioned, CandyPanda's been left all on his own, so he's getting maximum experience, maximum farm. As is Creaton in that top lane, who got himself the BF sword and is backed once again. He shoved the lane up, but that's only going to help out fredy. Freddy's happy to come back into that top lane and continue to get all that farm.
And that's been the big difference, because fredy was there in the top lane. He teleported to it from the start when we had the big fight in the mid lane, where Kevin was part of the fight instead of farming. So fredy got ahead on farm, got ahead on XP, and therefore Kevin has just been trying to catch up, and now he's actually going to join in this top lane for one-on-one. Let's see if SK want to build up the wave here with fredy, and then move Svenskeren up there, or move Jesiz up there, and just dive onto Kevin and force him away.
He has got the Vampiric Scepter. He will take the golems down before he gets into that top lane, but he's quite far behind on fredy, and fredy with boots on Renekton will be a force to reckon with. nRated sticking with Jesiz in his mid lane, making sure he's safe. And Jree still only at level 4, level 5. Creaton actually low here. CandyPanda could go towards him. He's got Svenskeren coming round now. This is where they're going to focus on. That's going to be the ultimate coming out already. Not enough damage done. Creaton goes down first, but easily gifted to CandyPanda.
Very, very smart move. Both side lanes are pushing for SK, so Svenskeren just had to choose. Do I want to go dive to bot lane? Do I want to dive to top lane? Okay, I'll go bot lane here. Picks up a very easy kill onto Creaton. Kevin couldn't teleport to help him because he's stuck under his own tower.
So Dragon's going to get started off for SK Gaming. It's going to be a simple pickup. Both teleports are available. I'll tell a lie. fredy is not quite, but it will be any second now, as Jesiz gets dived on briefly by Kerp. But SK Gaming will secure themselves first Dragon of the game.
Ooh, ulti just missed from Kerp here. Jree was ready as well to join in with even more CC. Need to be careful though. nRated and Svenskeren both around here. A good move by SK. Also the reason Svenskeren actually decided to go bot lane and not top lane, because they kill Creaton, go straight for the dragon here, pick it up for SK.
So fredy keeping pressure on. It's got 20 CS, 30 CS, almost lead over Kevin, who is happy to hold out on his tower. Honestly, he is level 7, so he's not really diveable too much. He's got a great deal of hit points. CandyPanda though is diveable. Kottenx sneaks around the side of him. Creaton goes aggressive on towards him. Flash already used. Is he going to be able to get away to the tower? He is. And CandyPanda, with the heal and flash used out, is safe.
Yeah, both summoners going here, and Creaton can now either freeze the lane or just push it out and try and deny some CS. Seems for now he just want to freeze it and wait for the next wave. While of course CandyPanda will have to run all the way back from base, and he could now be the target for the next game for Millenium because both summoners are gone.
Meanwhile in this mid lane, they are continuing their little back and forth foray. Just 6 CS drift between the two. Top lane of course, Kevin happy to return back to lane and keep him away. Kerp again goes aggressive onto Jesiz. Doesn't do a great deal, and as you mentioned in lane phase, you know, he has that shield, Jesiz, on Cassidy, and that builds up a lot of damage. So when Kerp goes aggressive with that playful trickster, it's really only just bouncing on the shield. This time around, he does catch him nicely with the Urgent Strike.
And what we have to remember as well, Kassadin, while he might be strong in the lane now, he still needs to scale up with his items. Rod of Ages is already completed. Jesiz is just waiting for it to give him more stats. Might be going for T as well, as the next item needs to stack this one up as well here. So for Kassadin, it's pretty much all about just farming here early on, waiting for your items to stack up, and then you just become this absolute monster in the late game.
So there's a bit of a farm differential. Nice hook. Creaton gets played out. Does manage to get out there. Jree goes aggressive, but I think he's not going to get out of this solar flare. Quickly lands and gets thrown down. nRated unsure really where CandyPanda wanted to go with that one. The exhaust was enough to hold CandyPanda at bay.
Yeah, and also actually exhaust was used onto Creaton here once nRated went in for it. Kevin though, teleporting back to this top lane, just trying to farm, picked up a chain vest now actually, because you know fredy can do so much damage onto him.
Yeah, fredy building up towards that Sunfire Cape, of course, with that Giant's Belt already purchased. And as you mentioned, this is the big stage for fredy. He has to really start to make some plays, because from now on in, Kevin is just going to get stronger.
Yes, it only goes one way for Jax, and he's just up here. He did delay his blade, he did delay his Trinity Force because he went for this chain vest, but he felt like he needed it for the laning phase against fredy, because he knows I'm just farming here, and also if Svenskeren joins in, it's even more physical damage where the chain vest will help.
What I will say though is something we talked about heavily in the pre-game to this show is that SK struggling in lanes. They're winning. They're 2,000 gold up in the lane phase. This is bad news for Millenium as Creaton gets caught out once again. That ultimate from CandyPanda. One hit's enough. And now Jree's in trouble. He could make it a double here. The death sentence is available. If he wants to go for it, there's the play. Will he go for the final finisher? No, the tower's enough to keep him away.
So managed to actually get out here for Jree, but Creaton did go down. That's despite CandyPanda had to use both summoners on this gank early on, we talked about, and yet SK can turn around, get a kill onto Millenium, 2 versus 2. So yeah, laning phase-wise, in this game, early game-wise, SK is doing really well. All starts from the lane swapped early, where Millenium put a lot of members in the mid lane to try a gank, or to try a counter gank. It was actually onto SK, where CandyPanda was just farming the bottom lane by himself, and fredy was farming the top lane. Now Jesiz is actually taking some damage.
Chum the Waters goes down, but Kerp takes a lot of tower damage. The Ignite's going to be enough, and Jesiz gets the kill.
Oh, a little bit too aggressive here from Kerp into the tower as well. Kottenx down his bottom lane though.
It's a 3v2, but Creaton's already taken a lot of damage. Solar Flare does not land. CandyPanda now, he's got Kottenx up his backside, and nRated's in trouble. He's going to go down. He's not going to be able to escape this one. Creaton will pick up the kill. CandyPanda though, in a one-on-one, takes down Kottenx.
So nRated, he actually gave the lantern to CandyPanda here, and then he just moved away from him. So he dragged 2 members from Millenium towards him, and CandyPanda was left to one-on-one Kottenx. 1-0 for CandyPanda.
Fantastic stuff. SK Gaming strong start to this game, and let's check out this fight once again. As you mentioned, nRated, the ultimate support.
Yeah, nRated actually here with both Jree and Creaton. They go towards him, and he just stays as far away as possible for Candy. I'm not sure if he wanted CandyPanda to actually take the lantern and try and kill Creaton, because he thought, okay, you're dead no matter what. And then CandyPanda said nope, and just killed Kottenx by himself.
Very well played, but Millenium take the tower nonetheless. So it's 2-1 now in terms of towers. Of course, mid lane tower went down just a moment ago while that replay was running. Jesiz and Svenskeren finishing that one off. So that unlocks the mid lane. Kassadin is now free to roam. Kerp is now free to roam. Blue Buff will go across to Kerp. Let's see what he can make of this one, because he's made some huge plays in the past on this Fizz.
Yeah, but in this game here, for Millenium, 2 mistakes now. Kerp first went under the tower onto Jesiz, thought he could kill him. Instead, Jesiz turned it around, picked up a kill on a Kassadin. You really don't want to give any kills to Kassadin early on. And in the bottom lane here, where Kottenx and the rest of Millenium, they split up from each other and actually ended up giving a kill, trading 1-for-1 in a 2v3 situation.
Top lane tower is about to drop. That's going to be 3-1 for SK Gaming. All of the outers now down. Where will they go from here? SK Gaming tends to only get stronger from here on out. Millenium be able to keep them at bay. In terms of vision, looking across the map, nobody's really got full dominance, so at the moment there's not a clear opening for either of the teams, but with CandyPanda so far ahead in build, I feel, of course, the fact that he is 3-0 up, maybe one of the ones to watch. fredy, though, he's got problems in this top lane. He's already gone aggressive on Kevin. Kevin's just baited him in. Now fredy knows it. The moment Kevin turned around, he knew he was in trouble. Dominus is running. Is he going to be able to pick up anything from this one? I don't think he will. That will be a simple kill. 2v1, pulling him down. But look at this. SK making full advantage. Jungler in the top lane. Thank you very much. We'll have a dragon.
Jungler and even support were moving up there to help. So fredy, while he died, he just gave a dragon to the team and SK can be happy.
And of course, fredy, the shot caller for SK Gaming. He'd be the one that just says, I'm going to hold them out here as long as possible. Get that dragon now. They're all coming in towards me. But now look at this top lane. Jesiz going aggressive on towards Kevin. Counter-Strike's running. That's going to finish off. He can chase with Riftwalk. There it is. Instant kill. Use the flash to get on towards it, though. And that may put Jesiz in trouble. Jree's going to lock him up. But now he can turn this one back around. Force Pulse does not do a great deal of damage.
On rank 1.
Onto Jree. But now he's going to continue on towards him. They've got vision of the top. He can continue chasing in that top lane. Kerp now in trouble. fredy and Svenskeren coming in. They lock him up. Chum the Waters goes down. He will catch on both of them. He tries to playful trickster away, but where's he going to go? In that top lane, you can see Jesiz continues. He's going to be onto Jree. Gets himself one. He can just go around. He can get his third, fourth kill of the game as he comes around. Kerp's so low. I think fredy wants it. And he gives it to Jesiz. And that's a 4-0 Cassidy in the mid.
And in the bottom lane as well, tower gone. CandyPanda and nRated just pushed it up because Jree, he was up in the top lane, busy dying to a Cassidy here. And Jesiz, he just went in. There were 3 members from Millenium. He goes in, kills the first one. It was Kevin. Then he just chased on. Kottenx was out of mana, couldn't do anything. Jree, of course, as a Leona, can't do anything either. And in the mid lane, Kerp again, too aggressive, too far up. Also, just gave up a kill. And now 4 kills to Cassidy, 3 kills to a Cockmore. Well, I don't think I need to say anything about the late game scaling.
All that chasing leads to yet another objective as the mid inner turret goes down. Jree taking some more punishment. And SK Gaming now in full control. We talked about how the mid early game is a problem for them. But once they get to this stage, they know exactly what to do.
And they've really they punish Millenium again and again for all the personal mistakes. Taking the wrong fight from Millenium side, being too over-aggressive in your laning phase, and SK is there, turn it around, pick up the kills. Again, Jesiz up in his top lane here. Jree actually was roaming between mid and top before Jesiz joined in for the fights. If he'd been there from the start, he'd have locked him down, the Jax would have survived, and nothing of this would have happened, except for maybe Kerp dying in the mid lane. But he wasn't there. He was like moving between mid and top lane. Didn't really know where to go. And then in the end, he decided to go back to top lane when it was too late and just gave up another kill.
And they couldn't ask for a better gold spread, better kill spread with the 2 carriers, the AD and the mid lane, getting all of those kills so far. They're both 7,000+ gold apiece, leading anyone on Millenium, of course. SK Gaming regrouping, they're moving in towards Kerp. Kerp's going to be their focus target once again. Chum the Waters comes out, but look at this! Svenskeren rides the wave straight on through. The Sonic Wave enough to get the kill.
Same story. Kerp staying there farming, his tower is already gone. SK just moves in, Cassidy jumps him, Lyssin jumps him, so much mobility, and now just pushing up to this mid lane.
Top lane may be the focus. You can see also the mid lane is where they're pushing in. The minions are coming in towards there. Freddy's got himself some free time on this top lane, which is where SK are going to move on to. nRated, ooh, I wonder whether Jree was going to maybe try and go towards it, but SK Gaming nonetheless, they're going to take themselves another death sentence, not landing from nRated, but it's another inner turret. That's 6-2 now for SK.
6 towers down here from Millenium side, only picked up 2 by himself. Now Kottenx waiting in his jungle here, one trying to set something up.
Jree stood on a ward. He stood on a ward, they know exactly he's there. Instead, Kevin just walks straight in towards it. Counter-Strike will be enough to stop them. Solar Flare goes down, Jree already dead. Now fredy goes in towards them as well. Onto Kottenx, Kottenx goes down, and nRated gets himself another, and they are just motoring through the Millenium defensive front line now. Jesiz all over Kerp, throws out, didn't even get a chance to do Chum the Waters, he was off cooldown, and it's a double for the support nRated. They can push on through for the inhib.
SK Gaming, they simply outplay Millenium in this game in every single aspect here. Rotations, individual play, laning phase, everything goes in favor of SK Gaming.
Short cooldown, of course, on those deaths, but nevertheless, it's an inhib down, and SK taking great objective control now. 7-2 up, inhib down, 21 minutes gone. They can pull on back and take what they want. Let's check this fight out.
Yeah, so with all the wards in the jungle here from SK, they spot out Millenium trying to set something up and just waits for them. Kevin goes in first, he's supposed to back away. Jree's already so low when he engages. lands the slow on to Kottenx. He's an easy kill, and now, of course, with a Kassadin, you can always chase. Kerp, no chance to survive.
I mean, I'm no pro player, but I know.
You are not.
They've just taken that top turret. You don't go around that bush. Because chances are they're either on the red buff or they're in and around that jungle. They would have seen them going south on the tower. They knew they were in there somewhere. So why did they go looking for that fight?
Well, Millenium were hoping that SK were backing away, and some members had already recalled. Maybe one member had already, let's say Jesiz had already jumped over the wall to Baron, and therefore they could try and pick a fight with only a few SK members. Didn't happen because they had full vision. It's waited around. Fredy though might be in trouble then.
Well, nRated may be in trouble as well. They're going to go for Fredy, they're going to go for him, but I don't think they're going to get either. Kerp taken very low. Solar Flare coming out, but look at this. CandyPanda's now here. He's going to turn back onto Kerp. Kerp in all sorts of trouble. He's going to try and slide across, but instead just goes point blank into it. Now Jree's in trouble. They tried their hardest to gank down nRated the support, but it's just another kill for Jesiz.
And it's not over yet. Svenskeren is here. He can jump over to the ward and go for the kick on Creaton.
Pouncing in there. He's not going to land the kick. The Sonic Wave does go in. No, he doesn't catch it. Doesn't matter. Jesiz has got enough damage. He's got 5 and 0-4. He can go in towards it. CandyPanda, meanwhile, finds Kottenx down the bottom. Gets himself a kill. It's a massacre for SK.
This has turned into a solo queue game pretty much. People just left and right trying to find kills here. All of a sudden, CandyPanda goes down to help Fredy, the ganking AD carry. Up here, nRated were caught out of position, instantly turned around by Jesiz. So it's just small fights everywhere, and now SK pushing on.
And the problem with SK, because they're such a mobile team, everybody is fast, maneuverable around the map. It's another easy inhibitor take for SK Gaming. They could push on through and take this game, but I don't think they're going to. They're going to play it safe. They've got super minions coming up that mid lane right now. Millenium are all spawned in full force, so SK, no need to risk it just yet. Although 14,000 gold, 23 minutes in, you could argue it's not much of a risk.
You have to do a lot of things wrong here to actually lose the game. However, you need to remember, based on Jax can do really well late games. Maybe SK will kill. But it's 100% safe here. Wait for super minions, take the dragon, maybe even force or take the Baron as long as Millenium is in the base here and make sure we have everything we need to just go and win the last team fight.
I'd be interested to see whether Kerp's the first potential player to have minus points in the fantasy.
No, Glebe from TSM
Glebe already had
last
them,
week.
Okay, well, we're going to see them from Kerp right now, 0-5-0, with only 150 CS, almost certainly is -1. Jesiz, though, going to get that blue buff. Let's see if he can continue to stack out his stats, which, I'm trying to think who has him in our league, I'm not too sure.
It was Quickshot actually.
I think Quickshot does.
It was his first round pick. It was Jesiz. He told me, just give me Jesiz first round. I'm like, are you sure? So many options.
Well,
he was like, yeah, just give it to me.
We all thought maybe he was nuts, and everybody at home was making a bit of the draft and went for Jeziz's first pick. Maybe thought the same, but it has been fantastic. Potential setup, but look at that. That's the bonus that CandyPanda has. Chum the Waters comes in. It actually caught on CandyPanda. Svenskeren and stepped in there. I don't know. Fredy can come on through. Slice and Dice does get the stun onto Jree. That's a dead support, and he's going to go down. Jesiz will pick himself up yet another. Kerp's trying to stick around the side. Already used to chum the waters. They don't care. They're going to push on through. There's nobody to defend right now. They're going to follow on towards the super minions, chasing the Millenium into the base. Look at this. Coming from behind, it's going to be Kerp and Kottenx, but I don't think they've got enough. One Nexus turret goes down. The second follows. And now on towards the Nexus. They quickly turn around. The hook on Kottenx. They just explode the jungler. And that's going to be everybody from Millenium quivering on their fountain as SK Gaming once again in 25 minutes destroy Millenium.
SK Gaming really show they know how to close games and they know how to play as a top team here. There was no chance for Millenium to come back. As soon as the lane swap were lost, SK had full control of the map and just picked up kill after kill after kill here and just punished Millenium for every single mistake they made.
SK Gaming already hold the fastest game in the European LCS this split, and now they've just got very close to it once again. So that's two 25-minute games for them. Complete destruction. 16 kills to 2. It's a, what, 17,000 gold advantage towards the end there. Fantastic stats for everyone involved as well. So really, really very well played by SK. Strong performance, and they've proven if they can win the lane phase, they will dominate the game.
Yeah, and I like the way they did it. The way they won the laning phase, simply by outsmarting Millenium in the lane swaps here, always kept the important members farming. Jesiz as well in the mid lane, even though there's a lot of action going on, kept farming, was even with Kerp on this, and therefore as soon as they got into the small fights, they were just so much stronger. And it's really nice to see both Alliance and now SK Gaming as the two top teams in Europe, showing in the matches here they really know how to dominate the games and don't give any chances to the other teams.
Yeah, they are very, very strong right now, and topping that table, of course, they are in second place, chasing Alliance. Of course, they lost to Alliance last week. Of course, it's interesting to see how that rematch is going to go. Long time before that one comes up, just a couple of weeks' time, not too long. It's a pretty short season after all.
True. This
is the road to the Summoners Cup. Who will get there? Right now, Alliance and SK Gaming almost certainly looking towards those top two positions, but it's a long, long season. A lot of games to go still yet.
I think we can say fairly sure. I would at least try and predict both these teams will go into the playoffs. I will take it this far.
I think that's a strong prediction.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you might question it.
It's a fairly safe one, I think.
I would even say it wouldn't surprise me at all. I actually hope to see both SK and Alliance with the way they're playing now during the World Cup. I mean, during the World Cup, during the World Cup.
Maybe the World Cup.
It could go to the World Cup.
They did play football at the
yeah?
weekend, of course. Yeah? You joined them.
I didn't actually. My parents were on visit,
oh,
so I couldn't
come on.
them.
I thought you were going there, man.
Sorry.
I didn't think I saw you. I thought maybe just the Danish skills. You know, you didn't make it to the World Cup. I thought maybe you just weren't quite good
I played
enough
football for like 14 years or something. I got skills.
Well done. Well done. I could say I've played it for like 30 years, but it doesn't make me any good.
One-on-one you on the football pitch.
Not a chance. You're about 10 years younger than I am. I ain't stupid. So back to the match, though. SK Gaming, as you mentioned rightly, are almost certainly a shoo-in for the playoffs already, just 3 weeks into this one. No surprises. They finished top of the league in the spring, looking like they could maybe challenge for that top spot once again.
We need to see them again, still improve, even though we've seen some good early game for them. When they played Alliance, they were outmatched in the early game. We just have to say they fell behind. This is the thing they need to fix, if they can. I know we keep repeating it again and again. They definitely know how to play team fights and know how to play the map. And yeah, both teams, Alliance and SK, are very close to each other. We just need to see who else from Europe can actually catch up. It's going to be Fnatic. Maybe Gambit is going to step it up here. We've seen Millenium. They started out the super weak. Really, really, I would even say fantastic, surprising. And now they're actually just fallen back and lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah, and let's look at Millenium. You know, they've had, they went 0-2 last week. There's another loss, so there's 3, I think maybe 4 losses in a row. It's a bit of a problem for them. Some scary, scary times for Millenium fans after such a great start in Super Week. For now, though, we are going to send it over to Shox and Quickshot, who have SK Gaming's Jesiz standing by.
Thank you very much, D-Man. We do have Jesiz here with us after that fairly quick win over Millenium. Talk us through picks and bans. You're going for the Kassadin immediately. Did you have in the back of your head that Kerp already played Fizz versus Kassadin and actually won quite hard? And how did you go into that matchup?
I kind of had it in the back that they might want to leave Kassadin open because they did it before. But I don't know. I felt confident even though they won the last Fizz against Kassadin matchup. So for me, it was just get Kassadin, the game was won. So this is how it is. Like Kassadin is super broken. It's like the only champion right now is super broken.
Well, it took you a long time to get to that point. Let's be fair. The rest of your lanes were doing very well. Talk me through some of the early game decision making because nRated was roaming. We've seen him on Thresh. It's not something we see him play too often. You guys had a lot of movements in the early game. Why was that?
Well, we played in the scrims. We figured out how everything works, and I think roaming a lot and getting the good junglers and getting the strong support like Thresh and Lee Sin, it helps out a lot, and getting control around mid lane helps a lot as well. So it's just how the game is right now, like the meta right now.
Well, you guys actually built up an 8,000 gold lead by 18 minutes. Did you realize that your lead was that big, and how do you think you got to that big of a lead that quickly in the game?
I don't know how. I think we just caught off people, and I saw a first blood. Was it bot lane or something? Like at that point, I had free farm as Kassadin, and they got first blood. I just felt like, okay, this game is over.
Well, I actually got a replay of the moment where I felt the game was over. Let's pull this replay up onto your screen. I want to give you a high five because you got me those sweet fantasy points from this few minutes on. Talk me through your decision making, like what was going through your mind as you defended this tower and chased around the rest of the map. Let's roll this clip out.
All right, I see that Evelyn is really low on mana and Jax is fairly low, so I just go on them and burst Jax, and then I know he's going to pop the E, so I just walk away and then jump on him again. And I know Evelyn still has no mana, so I can just 1v2 them here, and it's only Leona. And I know that Fizz is mid and Lucian's bottom, so it's basically just a free 1v3.
Is the rest of your team making calls, letting you know where they are, what their decision making is, or is this you just going, hey, like, dude, I got this?
At this point, they're like, yeah, just keep going, but afterwards, just come for Fizz. At this point, they're like, oh, walk down here when you're done up there. Just come and kill Fizz afterwards.
So you managed to pick up the kill there onto Jree. You do manage to pick up the kill onto Kerp at the end as well. This, to me, was just the game-defining minute. As a last question, how did you then proceed to actually finishing the game as a team? Because you played a little hesitant at some points. So talk me through decision-making.
I think we just played it kind of safe. The matches that we lost in LCS, the 2 matches that we lost, we kind of did some overextending and some bad calls. So we just played it kind of safe and just had some great decision-making. You know.
And a great champion pick there in Cassid. And of course, congratulations on a great game, Jesiz. We'll take a brief break and we'll be right back with Super Hot Crew versus Fnatic. But before we resume the LCS, check out some of the LCS off-Rift action between our teams as they tried competing in an entirely different sport.
We had plans to play Fnatic, last split already, but it just never happened. And then this split, I met Soas at a train station right before split and said, we're gonna play a football match if you guys are up for it. We took a lot of other LCS players, rioters, everyone is here together to play a game.
Some of the teams wanted to do something else but play League of Legends.
Like, you spend so much hours and time with your teammates already, so spending times with others or mixing up the teams a bit to get some more connections with others is really good. Like, everyone played football. It's a thing everyone does when they grow up. We still have that sort of experience with us because it wasn't that many years ago.
Last time I played football was probably around 2 years ago or something.
I used to play in like 2 football teams when I was younger. Everyone watches football in Europe and it's very popular. I think the most popular sport in Europe. So some people are worse, some people are better, but everyone plays it.
The moment we got on the field, everyone was like super, super competitive, and of course, what else to expect?
I think we all actually did pretty decent. I was pretty surprised.
I take it way too serious, so I give it my all, just as much as in the LCS.
I kind of expected people to be pretty good.
I think maybe Saz is performing very well.
Breakfast is getting a lot of the glory, as normal.
When we played, I felt really good, like, in terms of my skills and stuff.
Peke is doing well. I'm actually kind of playing like a top lane role, I guess. I'm not really scoring.
We're all pretty good still, I think, and I felt like at least the game we played was not bad at all. You know, everyone was pretty good and knew what they were doing.
So I'm really happy to see people from almost every team here and just having fun with each other.
It's quite fun to play with everyone and different people on different teams.
Usually everyone is practicing, but this time we went for football and so far it's pretty fun.
Coming here and playing with them and being on team with them is just a lot of fun.
It's really nice to have a break from league sometimes and just play football and hang out with people.
I really enjoy hanging out with the other teams. We get to meet each other, to play against each other, and it's really fun.
It was just great to see everyone just hanging out, just chilling, and then afterwards having a bite to eat together and just bond. It's really nice to see.
He can't walk anymore, he gave it his all.